Hey all. Let's go through a quick lesson, and it will be quick because there's only a few parts to this, on Midnight Rambler. A lot of question about where you put a capo, if there is one, and what tuning it's in and all that. It is standard tuning in capo at 7, and plenty of videos and stuff if you want to see Keith playing it, but this is how you play it. The studio one, my favorite Stones recording, incidentally, has a little bit of a different feel, well, a lot of a different feel to the live Ya-Ya's one and other live ones they do. A lot more up-tempo, of course, on stage than the studio one. But you play it the same way. It's just a question of how aggressively, I guess, is the picking is. And the live one is more that kind of stuff. A lot more of a groove in the studio one, which is why I prefer it. But anyway, let's go into it. You're in with E shapes, D, A, and E. Those are the only chords in it. It's sort of a fundamental, very basic kind of rock opera, closest the Stones ever got to one, I guess. But it is a very simple tune. So that is right in E, a D, and then off on the D on the high E string, and then A. I'm slowing it down, of course. And then right, it's that same D, and then on and off on the A. So in between the verses, I suppose, not really in between a verse because they do a harmonica solo in there and stuff, but once you get through before it gets back into the groove of it, he just sort of rests there on an E for a second and lets everything sort of catches up, everybody takes a breath, and then it goes back into it. That's why I like the structure of it. And he's just sort of grooving on E. You get into that transition where the tempo of it kind of changes, and it's in the live one that's a little bit I don't know, a little bit less subtle. They just sort of go into it, but in the studio one it's fantastic. If you really listen, Keith and Charlie are just locked, and you can tell, like in the studio, they're just eyeballing each other, and they're perfectly right onto each other, so it goes into the in the space of 5 seconds there, they've changed it, completely changed the feel of it. So you gotta go into it stays on E for that whole part with the long harmonica solo. And then the live one he'd go on ya ya. So that's D and G string. You can hit that A string too. So somewhere in there, after they do a bunch of bars of that, it goes. That's easier than it sounds. It's E. So that's D and G. D and G at 2. And then off, and then an E chord. So D and G. G at first, D at second. My favorite little lick in the song. And then, so it goes through a bunch of those and sort of winds down and gets to the... Right? So it's a D7 except move it up one. So E flat 7. And then the high E on and off. Like that. Hammer on that E, hammer on the G at the first fret, and then open B and E. He does these in a few of these in between. G note, bend it slightly, and then D at the second fret. Mick would be whipping his belt on the stage and all that stuff. But it really is the same thing. It's the... You know, that kind of stuff. And then it starts up again. Again, if you compare the live one to the studio one, the live one, the transitions of the tempos and everything are they're rocked up a little bit. But on the studio one, it's a lot more subtle. And after they get to that part, it seems to take forever to get from that to the end of the song, which is another thing that makes it great. It's really only a couple of minutes to go out there, but it just seems like it's dragging, and Charlie's so far behind the beat. You just feel like, come on, man, get going. The tension of that whole thing is just stunning to me. It's perfect and brilliant. And that is the Stones at their peak, as far as I'm concerned. That session, that day, whatever was going on that day, they were on. So that's Midnight Rambler. Standard tuning, K-Put 7, D, A, E. And that's really it. Good luck.